Good evening, everybody, and for the first time in quite a while, welcome to RC Victory Lane. My name is VJ Williams, and this week as we kick off 2024. By the way, Happy New Year to each and every one of you. We're going to go over the first two pretty notable events on the RC calendar here in the United States here at Kickoff 2024, and that is the second or third annual. I think it's second annual Clash of Champions from Hoosier RC Hobbyplex in Indiana, Illinois. I got geography right. And the Beast of the East from World of RC in Ukama, which is actually about a couple hours to the north of me here in Charlotte. But those two kind of kicked off the season here for all the Americans. There's a lot of movement in the off season, but the biggest piece of news coming into the Clash of Champions, which we'll go over here first, is the debut of the new Team Associated RC10B7. Associated actually started by releasing a 7-part video series on the RC10B7, going a little bit over the history of the RC10 as well, because the Team Associated RC10 platform turns 40 years old this year. So happy birthday to the RC10 for that. I have an RC10B6.3 in my personal collection. I don't have an RC10. I'm probably too scared to actually break it if I actually had an original one. But there are many people out there. I've seen a lot of them online that have the RC10 in their collections, and many of them were racing them back in the 1980s when I was just a wee little boy. But the RC10B7, the current iteration of the platform, was probably the biggest story of the weekend, as 7 associated drivers, Spencer Rivkin, Aiden Horn, Billy Hayden, who's one of the designers of the platform, Kurt Wenger, Brent Telke, Davey Bada, I can't remember who the last one was, but they had 7 drivers running it, and it's kind of fitting that they had 7 drivers in the debut of the RC10B7, just because of the fact that, again, it's the 7th generation of the platform, 7 drivers, 7 days, 7 number of completion, all sorts of other nice little 7-part video series, all sorts of other fun stuff you can kind of figure out from the course of this last week, but. They had their 7 drivers with probably the first of the batch of the RC10B7s, which should be releasing here to the general public. I would say in the next week, if not by the end of this week for pre-orders, they will certainly be made available by the end of next week, because of course you have the running joke of 2 weeks as far as Associated Stuff is concerned, but. The biggest winner of the bunch that ran the RC10B7 over the course of the weekend was Davey Bada, who is a racer out of California, and he actually finished, I believe, in the top 3 in two-wheel drive modified, and very nearly won the Clash of Champions Grand Final for the modified division at the end of racing on today. He led for a good portion of the race, but then an incident about halfway through that forced him into the newly created Joker lane pretty much set him back in the field. He did fight back to finish second, but any chances of him winning the grand final were unfortunately dashed after that incident in the middle part of the grand final. The man who won the modified grand final, Brock Champlin, getting the first win for the Schumacher LD3 platform that released at the end of 2023, and they get their first win with their top driver in the grand final. He also finished 6th in the overall two-wheel drive modified division for the two-wheel drive modified buggy division at the Clash of Champions, and was able to but honestly, I think he probably values that win in the grand final more, and it probably didn't hurt that he got $2,000 as a result of that one. The other winners in modified were Davey Bada. I mentioned him before as being one of the big winners as far as two-wheel drive, the best finishers of two-wheel drives for Team Associated in the modified buggy division. But he also won the modified stadium truck division, which set him in a good position for the start of the modified Clash race at the end of racing on Sunday. He defeated Dakota Fenn on a tiebreaker. Dakota Fenn, the defending, no pun intended, Clash Grand Champion in modified. He beat him on points as a result of a better tiebreaker because he had a better combined laps in time compared to Fenn. I think it was only like a couple of seconds as a result. That was the difference in that one before Bada was able to get the win in modified stadium truck. Fenn did get the win in two-wheel drive modified buggy, and he also got the win in four-wheel drive modified buggy. So, all in all, I guess you can't say that Fenn had that bad a weekend. I mean, wins 2 of the 3 modified classes, has a solid run in the modified grade final, doesn't win it, and repeat as grand champion. But again, not a bad day at the office for Fenn, all things considered. Then in the stock division, the stock grand final is set by the results of 17.5 two-wheel drive buggy, 13.5 four-wheel drive buggy, and 13.5 stadium truck. In the 17.5 two-wheel drive buggy division, the winner that was Talon Henley, son of track owner Eddie Henley at Hoosier RC Hobbyplex. Some could say he might have had a bit of a home track advantage considering the fact that that's his home facility. But Henley, in his post-race interviews, often talked about how he just couldn't get things going when it mattered, but he was able to get it done. He was able to get it done this weekend as he picks up a 1-1 in two-wheel drive 17.5 buggy. And just to show that he was no one-trick pony, he went out in the 13.5 four-wheel drive division, and he went 1-1 there too, winning both sweeping the buggy divisions in the course of the weekend, and setting himself up as the pole sitter for the stock grand final at the end of the day on today. The 13.5 stadium truck division, he didn't get the sweep though. The 13.5 stadium truck division went to Sammy Moran, who switched over from TLR to Associated for 2024. Some could say it's because of the fact that TLR hasn't updated their 22T 4.0 or a 22T platform in a couple of years. So he probably was going to a fresher, newer platform. Again, only Sammy really knows the answer to that one. But he picked up a win in 13.5 stadium truck as he goes 1-2, getting a second in aiming number 2 and a first and a win in aiming number 3, and beating defending stock champion Doug LaRiviere on a tiebreaker, as his 2 combined best scores were better than Doug's 2 best combined scores when the final points were tallied. But when it all came down to brass tacks in the grand final for the stock division, Talon Henley once again showed why showed the rest of the field that this was his house and you weren't going to beat him in it, as he wins the stock grand final. Let me go back to the results here to get the stock clash results. Henley wins going 22 laps in 8:02. He wins by 5.3 seconds over Sammy Moran, who finished second with the Associated. Henley driving the TLR. Doug LaRiviere with Associated finishes third, 22 laps, 8:12. Ethan Hoskins finishes fourth, 21 laps, 7:59.97. Colin Clark finishes fifth, 21 laps, 8 minutes, 0.028. Mason Templeman, 2023 Masters of Dirt winner in the stock division, finishes in sixth with a 21 laps, 8:03.026. Damon Smith, one of the locals, finishes seventh. Fix the lights. Come on, turn on. There we go. Damon Smith finishes seventh with a 21 lap 8:04. And Nate Sutherland rounds out the field with 21 laps 8:04.92, finishing about 0.12 of a second back of Smith to round out the field in the stock grand final. And the mod grand final, we already mentioned, Brock Champlin got the win as he finishes with 23.802. He wins by 2.2 seconds over Davey Bada for Associated, the best finish among the new B7s in the house for Associated this weekend. Oh, Dustin Evans, that was the other one who was running the B7 platform. Dustin Evans, he finished. He also made the grand final for the mod division. But Davey Bada finished second with a 23 laps 8:04. Cole Tollard finishes third with a 23 laps 8:07. Dakota Fenn, defending champion, unfortunately was not able to defend his title. He finishes fourth after a couple of crashes in the early going, setting him back in the field. He finishes with a 23 lap 8:08. Ryan Cavalieri finishes fifth for Schumacher with a 23 lap 8:19. Spencer Rivkin for Associated, who was top qualifier in two-wheel drive modified, but unfortunately had a couple of crashes and an unfortunate break trying to force the issue in aiming number 3, set him back in the final overall standings there. He finishes with a 22-lap 7:45 as he breaks again in the grand final. This is an all-around tough weekend for Spencer. Hopefully, he can get things picked up here going into the Southern Indoor Championships as they kick off the 8th scale season here next week. But Rivkin finishes 6th with a 22.745. Dustin Evans for Associated finishes in 7th with a 22-lap 8 minutes flat .612. And Tom Rinderknecht for X-Ray finishes in 8th with a 21-lap 7:23.375. Once again, the grand final. So Ciampa picked up $2,000 for his win in the modified grand final, and Callan Henley picks up another $2,000 for his win in the expert grand final for the Clash of Champions from New Albany, Indiana. This event is quickly becoming. Well, first off, it's the first event of the year for the RC calendar, taking the place of the Reedy Race of Champions, which has been on hiatus since it was first canceled in 2021. My personal hope is that they bring the Reedy Race back in 2025 or something, because I really would like to see. Oh, pardon me. I really like to see them bring back the Reedy Race in 2025. I think SDRC in California will be a perfect venue for it with the closure of OCRC at the end of 2021. But as you can clearly tell, sorry about that, folks. gotta love live television. I'm actually in a telephone room here where I'm staying, and unfortunately, someone needed to make a phone call. I didn't want to have a business being broadcast over the internet to people who probably don't even know or care about it whatsoever. So, but anyway, getting back to what I was saying, that this was the I guess you could say it was an all around decent weekend for the Associated boys who ran the B7 in their first run out at Hoosier RC Hobbyplex. Because Bonnet finished second. You had three Associateds making the A final in two-wheel drive modified, and all in all, just generally a good weekend. I think kind of setting the stage for the Associateds to be able to do the public release of the Associated RC10 B7 probably here before the end of the month of January. I'm going to go ahead and go over the rest of the modified results over the course of the weekend, because I would be remiss if I did that. But Dakota Fan goes 1-1 to take the win in four-wheel drive modified. Rob Champlin finishes second in four-wheel drive modified, which all things isn't a bad way to go out the weekend. Getting a win in the grand final, getting a top 10 in two-wheel drive, and again the second in four-wheel drive. I know he would like to have a general win in the mains, but again, hey, he walked with $2,000. You can't go wrong with that. Spencer Rivkin finishes third. For Associated, Chase Lemieux for X-Ray finishes fourth. Davey Botta for Associated finishes fifth. Joe Bornhorst for S-Works finishes sixth. Nice run for him. Cole Tyler finishes seventh for TLR. Tom Rinderknecht for X-Ray finishes eighth. Dustin Evans for Associated finishes ninth. Tater Sontag, Tool Drive World Champion, finishes 10th in four-wheel drive for TLR, and Ethan Mechanic for X-Rite rounds out the field in 11th in four-wheel drive modified. The rest of the two-wheel drive modified results, we had Dakota Van getting the win as he goes 1-1 to take the win, getting the win in A1 and A3 to finish first. Cole Tyler finished with an outstanding run, finishing second, making a 1-2 finish for TLR as he goes 1-2, getting a win in A number 2 while Dakota Van struggled. Spencer Rivkin, all in all, a tough weekend as he gets a second, a fourth, and an 11th as he breaks in the third, trying to push the issue to hopefully to win and better the tiebreaker over Fenn. He breaks in the third A main and finishes in third overall. Tom Rinderneck for X-Ray finishes fourth. Davey Bada finishes fifth for Associated. Brock Champlin finishes sixth for Schumacher. Ryan Cavalier for Schumacher finishes seventh. Aiden Horn for Associated finishes eighth. Tater Sontag, two-wheel drive world champion, finishes ninth to kick off his 2024. Chase Lemieux for X-Ray finishes 10th. And Kai Goff rounds out the field in 11th in the two-wheel drive modified A final. And last but not least, before we kind of get some final thoughts about the Clash of Champions before going to the Beast of the East. Davey Bada wins the modified stadium truck division as he wins on a tiebreaker over Dakota Fenn for TLR. Davey Bada running for Associated. Justin Evans for Associated finishes third. Rob Chamberlain for Schumacher with the Storm ST2 finishes fourth. Cole Tyler with the TLR finishes in fifth. Spencer Ripken with the T6.4 for Associated finishes in sixth. Tom Rinderneck with the XT2 for X-Ray finishes in seventh. Aiden Horn for Associated finishes eighth. Ryan Cavalier for Schumacher with the ST2 finishes ninth. Mason Herrick, local product, finishes 10th. Peter Sontag for TLR finishes in 11th. Riley Becker finishes in 12th. And Gavin Busina rounds out the field in 13th as he goes 13-10-13 to round up the A main in modified stadium truck. As I was saying before, kind of to wrap things up, wrapping things up here, talking about the Beast of the Clash of Champions before we move on to the other event of the weekend, the Beast of the East. This, again, I mentioned before, this is quickly becoming probably one of the more significant races in RC, even though it's only in its second year. They drew over 400 entries and huge entries in the stock classes. And again, it's the first race of the year. So Eddie Henley clearly knew what he was doing, putting this race in January to replace the outgoing CRC Midwest Off-Road RC Championships when the Columbus RC Race Club closed at the end of 2022, or was it 2021? I can't remember which. But either way, Eddie Henley obviously knew what he was doing to try to create a major event, as there was obviously a gap created with the continued postponement of the Reedy Race of Champions, and with the closure of CRCRC and the ending of that race there, the Midwest Off-Road Championships. He did very well to put that race in that void, and it's quickly becoming a major event to be able to actually partake in to kind of kick off the RC season. I really would like to see Clash of Champions become what I think, to borrow a phrase from John Hindhoff, who's a full-size RC auto race broadcaster, a blue ribbon event in the RC calendar, in addition to events like the International Series, the NCTS, although the NCTS and the Indoor National Series merged for 2024. I will go over that more when we talk in our next live, which I'll go over when that will be here in just a minute. The Roar Nationals, the IFMAR Worlds, which even though they only come every 2 years, I would like to see the Clash of Champions become one of those major events that draws the best of the best in America. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing that event draw some international flair. I know a lot of the Europeans would want to start their seasons in Europe, but I think that the 10th, I think that it would do well to come over to America. I mean, they showed a lot of success at the end of 2023, coming over for races in America before the World Championships. A number of Europeans came to the Florida Carpet Championships at Beachline in November. It was all in all just a very, very good. I think that this has the potential to be a significant event on the RC calendar that people are going to want to be a part of. Another event that is just that is hoping to kind of gain some major status in the RC community is the Beast of the East from the Thunder Alley RC Speedway in Lucama, North Carolina. Now that event is about 3 hours away from me here, but unfortunately I don't have a way to get there. So I would have been a part of the proceedings at Lucama in person, which certainly would have been a very fun event, especially with Keenan White, Lefty the Great from the No Name RC podcast and the new Elite RC Productions crew doing the broadcast. I got a chance to catch up some of the racing while I was following the races over at the Clash of Champions. They did a very good job. They had a bit of a rough go of things to start as they had a bit of lag in the broadcast, I think, on Friday. But all in all, they were able to get things resolved, and they still had a fine piece of a fine broadcast. Great job for Lefty and Lance, Lefty and Gene Shrout and Pat Rossiter and Danny Paz and the boys at Elite RC Productions putting this one on. Now the thing with Beast of the East that makes it unique is they actually crown champion. They have the Triple Crown format, which you enter 3 classes in any one division, sportsman, expert, or pro, and they take your combined finishes into 3, and the best combined finishes is your Triple Crown champion. And I'm not gonna be able to go over the. I guess I'll be able to go over it. But the pro champion was Lee Setzer, who, again, on a personal note, I got to meet him at the U.S. Carpet Off-Road Championship 2021. He was very helpful, very kind, and I'm glad to see him getting a win at an event like Beast of the East, which hopefully again becomes a major event on the RC calendar as it's one of the first of the year. The expert was Mad Matty Long, a up-and-coming racer out of Virginia who finished second in the expert e-buggy and won the extra nitro buggy, lapping the field. So big props to Mad Matty Long and Rusty Mihelich from Leaned Out RC Raceway Dispute 10 to Virginia. Congratulations on that. And let me take a second here and catch the sportsman winner because I'll call it here. I believe it was Nick. I believe it was let's see, Nick Jordan e-buggy. Sportsman 17.5. Well, unfortunately, I'll have to get back with the. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the sportsman Triple Crown winners, but congratulations to Matty Long and to Lee Setzer, the other winners in Triple Crown format. But we're gonna go over a couple of noteworthy results over the. First, of course, the feature race of the weekend, the Pro Nitro Buggy, is the longest race of the weekend at 30 minutes. And Colton Fernari, coming down from New Jersey, gets the win as he goes 98 laps in 30 minutes, 30 minutes and 9 seconds, 0.889. Javon Mallory from Virginia finishes second with 96 laps at 30:03.724. Will McIver from North Carolina finishes in third. There we go. I'm definitely going to have to make a point to try and get a dedicated space to be able to do these broadcasts from. It doesn't have a timer on their lengths, but that's a personal beef that I'm really going to go with that. But Will McIver finishes third, 96 laps, 30 minutes and 8 seconds. Travis Jones finishes fourth, 92 laps, 30 minutes, 2.808. Rounding the rest of the field, Mike Kendall in fifth, Don Elliott in sixth, Joseph Steichleather in seventh, Brian Beckholt in 8th, Jake Steichleather in 9th, and Marlo Bright rounds out your 10-car field in Pro Nitro Buggy. Pro E-Buggy, Bren Schimmel making his first 8-scale start of the year, and I think only his second or third 8-scale start in quite a while because he's focusing on his 10-scale program. He gets the win in the Pro E-Buggy, going 34 laps, 10:04. Lee Setzer, the Pro overall Triple Crown champion, finishes in second with a 34:10.11. Javon Mallory finishes third, 33 laps, 10:17. Colton Fernari finishes fourth, 33 laps, 10:17. And Will McIver rounds out your top 5, 32 laps, 10:03. Round out the rest of your field. Travis Jones in 6th, Marlo Bright 7th, Josh Parrish 8th, Michael Webb in 9th, and Jason Harp in 10th in Pro E-Buggy. Mentioned her before, expert E-Buggy. Colton Cruz gets the win, going 33 laps, 10 minutes, 10 seconds, 0.008. He wins by 8 seconds over Mad Matty Long. She gets a 33 laps, 10:18. Jose Zayas rounds out your podium in third with a 32 lap, 10:04. Christopher Kendall, Daniel Stolte, Joker Snyder, Brandon Stevens, Daniel Orlando, Chris Earhart, and Tyler Melton round out your 10-car field in Pro and in Expert E-Buggy. And in Expert Nitro Buggy, Maddie Long on her way to the Expert Triple Crown title, wins the Expert Nitro Buggy as she gets 79 laps at 25 minutes, 18 seconds. Daniel Stolte finishes in second, 78 laps, 25 minutes, 9 seconds. Daniel Orlando third, 76, 25.03. Lane Deming, 76 laps, 25 minutes, 19 seconds in fourth. And Joker Snyder runs your top 5, 75 laps, 25.04.263. Rest of your field in Expert Nitro Buggy, Josh Fine, Will Bristle, Johnny DeSanti, Denny Stockman, and Matt Walters. Now, there are a lot of other events that were part of the Beast of the East, but I want to go over those in particular. But they had four-wheel drive stadium truck. They had short course. They had novice, and I love the novice class. I ran novice when I was in Virginia. It is a great way to get into the racing side of the hobby and see if this works for you. And I would personally vouch for the novice class if I was able to myself. And I would have a novice race. I would have novice races myself. I'm thoroughly enjoying, though, running the parking lot racing in Mooresville, North Carolina, kind of stepping out of the racing side of things here for just a minute. But that is going to do it for this RC Victory Lane recap. Our next broadcast will actually be next Sunday, following the first 8-scale event of the year, the Southern Indoor Championships from Otagoville in Alabama. Lance McDonald's will be down there at that one. That's a race time event for Dave Lycum. He puts on some really, really good shows. I would love to get a chance to check out one of his events, but I will be recapping the Southern Indoor Championship, the first 8-scale event of the year. Look for a post, a community post about what time that recap will be. I'm also kind of doing a bit of a change as opposed to last year. I'm only going to be doing the recaps on Sundays. Now, for the Dirt Nitro Challenge in March, I will probably do things a little differently because obviously they have the split format with the racing there. But look for the recaps for most of these events that I do recaps for to be on Sundays in the evening. They'll run about 30 minutes as this one's going right here. And hopefully I'll get a chance to have a here as we kind of grow these and learn and keep going, that we'll actually get a chance to have special guests on, which will probably require some upgrades to equipment and other things. But I hope to have those things as we go forward with these recaps over the course of this year and moving on into the rest of 2024. Once again, that will do it for RC Victory Lane. My name is VJ Williams, and until we talk to you next Sunday night, go fast, turn left, turn right, and always keep them in the pipes.